Before we start, I've got a question for you. Do you like stories of epic fantasy with deep, character driven narratives? If so, then I'd like to direct you to the Seeker saga, written by yours truly. Set in a world of gods and monsters called Theral, the Seeker saga follows heroes across the ages as they fight to save their homes from the machinations of wicked forces. Book 1 follows a young man and his companions on their quest to save the sun god and restore daylight to the world. Book 2 follows a young woman with a mysterious past as she sets out to uncover the truth of her origins and the massacre of her tribe. Book 3 follows a newly appointed knight who finds herself torn between her morals and her duties as her country teeters on the brink of civil war. Finally, my upcoming 4th book follows a man set on revenge against those who left him to rot in prison, only to discover that their betrayal was all part of a much larger scheme. Despite the numbering, there's no hard reading order. With each book following a different protagonist in a different part of Theral, you can jump right in wherever you'd like. So, what are you waiting for? I'll put links in the description for you to browse at your leisure. Now, on with the video. Power scaling is a contentious topic at the best of times, especially in a setting like Runeterra. With well over 100 characters to keep track of and dozens of different magical disciplines, many of which are capable of bending reality itself in various ways, it's no surprise that figuring out an exact hierarchy of canonical power levels would be tricky at best and impossible at worst. You've got characters who can solo armies, cities, and possibly even gods. Hell, some of those characters basically are gods, at least in some sense of the word. However, since 2016, there has been one champion who stands as the uncontested strongest member of League's roster, a character who quite literally dwarfs the other contenders. I am, of course, referring to the Star Forger himself, Aurelion Sol. Aurelion Sol released not long after Riot's initial reboot of League's canon, and marks their first proper foray into exploring a truly cosmic scope for their world. I mean, what is there to even say? He's a freaking space dragon roughly the size of a moon, if not larger, who can create suns in the palm of his hand and manipulate the magics of the universe in ways that would make even the likes of the Ascended or Aspects recoil. There are, at best, a handful of champions who may be able to rival Aurelion Sol, but the Starforger is the only one hard confirmed to be capable of making and destroying celestial bodies at will. Indeed, Sol kind of eclipses everyone else in terms of sheer power, to the point that it kind of puts him in an awkward spot in the narrative. I mean, with a character like this, who stands head and shoulders above just about everyone else, you're kind of limited as to what you can even feasibly do with him. Any story Aurelion Sol is involved in, by necessity, either needs to have him as an antagonistic force to be overcome, or a deus ex machina to solve a problem. And sure enough, his lore kind of puts him in a position to be either or both. So Aurelion Sol's lore is kind of weird to talk about because there is, unfortunately, an older version of his bio that does not appear to have ever been properly archived. It's not too different from his current bio, but, well, I guess we'll just go through what's on Universe right now and get to the changes as they become relevant. So Aurelion Sol is basically the closest thing League's lore has to a creator deity. He was born not too long after the universe itself, as part of a race of beings that we refer to simply as star dragons, though apparently even that is doing a disservice to what their beings actually are. True to the name, though, he and his kind are responsible for filling the universe with stars, though it's implied that Sol might actually be the oldest, or at least among the oldest of his kind. The creation of stars gave rise to the birth of planets and, in time, terrestrial life. Also, the aspects were around too, I guess. I don't know, Riot's never been super clear about what the aspects actually are, where they came from, or how they work. And while I've made a few theory videos on that exact topic in the past, it's still extremely vague. Whatever they are, though, the aspects managed to lure Aurelion Sol to the planet of Runeterra, where he encountered humans for the first time. The aspects also instructed the humans to create a giant golden crown for the star dragon as a sign of respect to him, which totally doesn't seem suspicious at all, and the humans somehow actually managed to do this. When Aurelion Sol put the crown on, it latched itself into place, and, well, here's where things get a little complicated. In the old version of the bio, this thing was basically just a giant shock collar. See, there was a point in time in which Riot wanted to make Targon this galaxy-spanning empire that sought to take over other worlds, and Aurelion Sol was enslaved as a weapon to help them do so. This was the same time period in which the Darken were supposed to be alien invaders. I don't know. For some reason, Riot wanted to take their lore in a vaguely sci-fi direction that dealt with several planets and interstellar civilizations, despite the fact that they hadn't, and still have not, properly finished establishing everything about the main planet of Runeterra. The new lore, however, did away with all that cosmic empire stuff. Now, the crown's purpose is just to steal the knowledge of how stars work, I guess. Like, the crown let the aspects read Saul's mind and unlock the secrets of how to create a sun. Because I guess despite being cosmic beings as well, they didn't actually know how to do that. Well, they actually used it to create the sun disks that in turn created the Ascended, which apparently draw power from Aurelion's soul himself, I guess. I don't know. The rules for how any of this is supposed to work are very ill-defined. It does just kind of seem like they tried to figure out a new solution to how to make the crown work after all the intergalactic empire stuff was retconned. But here's the thing. Apparently the crown does also still work like a shot caller as well, because it forces Aurelion's soul to do the aspect's bidding in addition to giving them knowledge. This is why he sealed a void portal on their behalf once. Unfortunately for him, Sol did so in a way that killed one of Pantheon's vessels. So the aspects retaliate by killing a star somewhere in the cosmos. This apparently hurts Aurelion's soul both physically and emotionally. Unfortunately for the aspects, the crown's power is weakening, and Sol is understandably very bitter about all of this. Being enslaved to Targon's will, having his arcane knowledge stolen from him. Basically, Aurelion's soul wants to blow up Runeterra just to spite the aspects, and it's implied that he will do so the instant his crown's enchantment finally truly breaks. When it does, I'm genuinely not sure there are any characters or entities who could stop him. Unless maybe the aspects work together, or I don't know, maybe Bard steps in to do something. Even then, I'm not sure how much anyone could do if Sol just chucked a miniature sun at the planet. I mean, I could complain at length about how nonsensical or vague a lot of elements in this guy's lore are, but at the end of the day, that's really the core issue with Aurelion Sol. He's actually too OP. Runeterra has like half a dozen potential apocalypses waiting to happen at any given moment, but Sol is honestly tied with the Void as like the biggest threat to the world's existence. Hell, we've established that he's one of the only entities who can actually do with the Void, something even other celestial beings seem to struggle with. The thing is, Aurelion Sol is functionally more of a plot device than a character, even though he is supposed to be the latter. The lore kind of paints him as this tragic figure, a great cosmic being who simply wanted to fill the universe with light and wonder. He's a creator deity forced to use his power to destroy, and eons of imprisonment have left him bitter and resentful to the point that he's willing to massacre an entire planet just to spite the ones actually responsible for his captivity. It's fairly easy to forget that we're meant to feel bad for him, though, when his voice lines so often characterize Sol as a vain, cocky jerk who constantly talks down to everyone he meets. His dialogue gives less the impression that he's suffering, and more the impression that he genuinely just thinks everyone and everything else is beneath him. An ego to give even Draven a run for his money. Like, his whole personality is based on an arrogant rock star to the point that he even has lines referencing the genre. How does he even know what a cover band is anyway? Are there, like, actually rock concerts out in space somewhere, or what? Putting that aside, Aurelion Sol is a really cool idea for a character, but he just winds up feeling kind of out of place in the world of Runeterra when you stop and break it down. Literally. But what do you all think? Do you believe Sol is actually a great addition to the roster? If so, what would you like to see from him story-wise going forward? Leave your thoughts and comments down below, and until next time, stay bright.